time, weather, and...
Hello and welcome to Driving with Todd. And I'm Todd. Badfinger released their second album in 1970. That album was called No Dice. Now, I love that album. That's my favorite Badfinger album. It's just a great, great album. Well, Pete Ham writes his share of songs on this album, and Pete Ham is a great songwriter. He wrote I Can't Take It, which is the first track on the album, and it's a rocker. I mean, it's a rocker. No Matter What, which was a big hit for Badfinger. We're for the Dark, which is a beautiful ballad. So Ham can write anything. He can write ballads, he can write rockers, he can write anything. Well, there's another song that he wrote on this album called Midnight Caller. Now, why am I talking about Midnight Caller? It wasn't released as a single, it was just an album track. And, it just fits in with the songs on this album. Well, I found that Tim Hardin, who's a folk singer, okay, he's more towards the folk end of the music scene, did a cover of this. And I'm going, why would Tim Hardin do a cover of a Badfinger song, which is a fairly strong rock band? Well, it turns out that Tim Hardin had moved to England to do methadone treatments for his heroin addiction. While he was there, he recorded an album called Painted Head. Now, this was 1972. On that album is Peter Frampton. I thought that was kind of cool because it's like Peter Frampton's like a rock blues guitarist, and Tim Hardin is a folk artist. So we're getting some strange combinations here. Well, on this album, it turns out to be all cover versions. Tim didn't write any of the songs on this album. It's also his last album for Columbia Records. So I don't know if he was doing this to get out of his contract. Don't know. But I thought it'd be fun to listen to the version of Midnight Caller by Tim Hardin. Is it folk? Is he doing this with acoustic instruments? Giving it a folk sound? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of why I want to do this. But I'm thinking there may not be a lot of people that have actually heard the Badfinger version of Midnight Caller, the original version. So I play that first and then follow it up with the Tim Hardin version, and then we can compare the two. How do they compare? Are they the same or are they different? We'll find out. Here's Badfinger doing the song Midnight Caller.
Beneath the midnight caller, she thinks of paper green. You never hear them calling her name. They just know where they've been. You never hear her holler. The tears no longer come. She reads a daily book of the past that shows of everyone. Gray is that show in her hair. Can't be, but don't seem to care. She locks the door and there's no one there.
So, Badfinger version of Midnight Caller. It has that very distinct Badfinger piano. I love the piano that they put in their songs. I mean, it's like they're hitting the keys like really hard. And I like that sound. And then you got that heavy bass guitar in there with the heavy drumming. I mean, there's a heavy beat in this song. There's some acoustic guitar as well in this song, but it's more of a ballad. It's not a outright rocker. it's slowed down, and Pete Ham's voice is just dynamite on this song. I think he's just like the perfect singer for Badfinger. He's got such a great voice, and I'll tell you, it's just got that really smooth sound to it, but it's got that heavy rock beat, and but it's slow enough to be a rock ballad, and I just think it's a cool song, and it's simplistic. I think it's simplistic as well. You don't have a lot of instrumentation in here. Like I say, you got the piano, bass, drum, acoustic guitar, and Pete Ham's voice. And I'm sure there's some other stuff going on in there, but that's the main focus of the song. So let's keep on going, see where the song goes.
The door, and there's no one there. She sees a daytime stroller walk from the night before, and though she paints a smile on her face, he won't be back no more. She's got no saint to follow. She's got no place to go. Too proud to ask an old friend for help. Too proud to let him know. Showing her hair can't be, but don't seem to care. She knocks the door and there's no one there. Nobody, 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 nobody's gonna help you now.
Oh, that's a cool song. That is a cool song. That whole album, that No Dice album, is fantastic. But that song is really, really good. And I'm surprised that it wasn't released as a single, because I think that could have been another big hit for them off of that album. Just really, really nice. And again, the instrumentation is very simplistic, and that was kind of how Badfinger had it in their first two albums. They didn't have a lot beyond their instrumentation themselves, their bass, their drum, their guitar, and that piano. And that piano kind of reminds me a little bit of Come and Get It, just a teensy bit, but it is a little bit different. It's a little slower, but it's cool, very cool song. So I thought, here we go. I wanted to play the Badfinger version because I don't know if a lot of people have heard Midnight Caller before, because it was an album-only track. It didn't appear on a single. So what I want to do now is play the Tim Hardin version. And I'm expecting the Tim Hardin version to be folky. A lot of acoustic guitar. I guess I don't know what to expect. So here we go with Tim Hardin doing a cover of Badfinger's Midnight Caller. Okay, I'm not expecting this. This is when it starts out with an organ. You got acoustic guitar in there. You got a really heavy bass. I mean, that bass is just right there. The drumming is real soft, a lot of cymbal, which is kind of cool, and then that electric guitar. And I'm guessing that electric guitar is Peter Frampton, because when I was looking through the notes, Peter Frampton's the only one that's playing electric guitar, so that must be him. But wow, that is not what I was expecting. I was expecting more acoustic sound. This is pretty cool so far. I'm gonna take it back and start it over. I love that beginning. That was a great beginning.
midnight caller. She thinks of paper green. You never hear them calling her name. They just know where they've been. You never hear them holler. The tears no longer come. She reads her daily book of the past that shows up everyone. Gray is that snow in her hair. Can't be, but she don't seem to care. She locks the door and there's no one there.
Oh, wow. Wow. This is really a cool version of this song. His voice sounds so fragile in this song. I mean, it sounds so fragile, but it has that kind of folky sound to it. But it sounds like he's like getting very hard to get this song out. It's like very emotional to him. But yeah, just great vocals on this song. That's tremendous. And then when he goes into the refrain, I think those are some horns we get in there. So not only do we have all that early instrumentation that's going through that whole first verse, but then they bring in some horns. And at least that's what it sounds like on my headset. Into the refrain to even heighten the sound of the instrumentation. Wow, this is really a cool version of this song, and it's so different. I mean, when if I didn't know that this was Midnight Caller, that first 30 seconds of the song or whatever it is before Tim begins singing, I wouldn't have known that this was Midnight Caller. I mean, he has really changed this up and made this song his own. Wow, this is really cool. That's cool. Let's keep on going.
The door and there's no one there. She sees a daytime stroller walk from the night before, and though she paints a smile on her face, he won't be back no more. She got no saint to follow. She's got no place to go. Too proud to ask an old friend for help. Too proud to let him know. Gray is that snow in her hair. Can't be, but she don't seem to care. She locks the door and there's no one there. Nobody.
Oh, wow. 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 That was awesome. That was awesome. I couldn't imagine what it was going to sound like. Like I said, I thought it was going to be, a bunch of acoustic guitars, maybe a little bit of drumming, soft bass. Not at all what I heard. Not at all what I heard. What an interesting approach to the song Midnight Caller by Tim Hardin. I love that electric guitar that they played all the way through the song, and how it accentuated his vocals almost. It like followed his vocals. Every time he sang a verse, it followed his vocals. Just really cool. And then the second verse starts up, and he brings in He brings in the strings, and those strings sounded so great. It's like, wow, the production on this version is so much more than what Badfinger. Badfingers was very simplistic. It was rock and roll, right? Very simplistic rock and roll. Tim Hardin took it to the next level, and he threw everything but the kitchen sink at it. I mean, he had strings in here. He had horns. He had like I don't know if it was a glockenspiel or what it was at the end. Just great, and I love the way he took the song out with his voice. Just a really cool version, and his voice was so tender, so fragile on this song. It just you could tell that the person he was singing about was going through some very difficult times. Just a great interpretation of this song. I'd like to hear this whole album, because if this one song, this one cover version he did for Painted Head is this good, all the other cover versions must be also spectacular. So this was Tim Hardin doing Midnight Caller, a song written by Pete Ham and covered from Badfinger, who had released it on their No Dice album. So I hope you enjoyed this. I did. This was eye opening to hear this cover version. Just really enjoyed it a lot. If you did, hit that like button. That'd be really, really cool. If you have any comments about Badfinger's version of Midnight Caller or Tim Hardin's version of Midnight Caller, put them in the comments below. That'd be really appreciated as well. I'm going to take the link to both videos. The videos weren't much. I mean, the Badfinger was the cover of the No Dice album, and the Tim Hardin is a cover of his Painted Head album. But the songs are what you want to hear. So I'm going to take a link to each of these songs and put it in my notes below. And if you want to hear the songs again, just pick on the link. The song will open up, and then you won't have me interrupting the song. I'm also going to take a link to each of the channels that uploaded these videos and put that in my notes below as well. Also, I want to note that I do write interesting information in my notes, so it'd be really cool if you took some time to read them. It'd make me happy, at least, because I take the time to write them. So, have you subscribed to Driving with Todd? If you haven't, why don't we do it right now? If you got my video open, which I hope you still do, go below the video, hit subscribe, and it's done. You're subscribed, and I'd be happy as well. If you go over here, ring the bell, you get updates to my latest videos. This was cool. I really enjoyed this. I wanted to hear this Tim Hardin version. When I saw Tim Hardin covering Midnight Caller, I couldn't believe that he was covering a Badfinger song. So I just wanted to do this where I could compare both of them side by side, and it was a lot of fun. It put a huge smile on my face. I'm hoping to put a big smile on your face, and peace out, baby.